Hi, I'm Jeff, the audio geek, and I have the pleasure of interviewing John Van from Van L Speakerworks today. It's April 15th, 2015. Sometimes I leave that out and I regret it later.
Mm,
So, John, I want to get the formalities out of the way before we get into the serious talk here. So, who was your favorite monkey?
Mickey.
Mickey Dolenz. You remembered him. I want to talk about your background. How did you get interested in audio, and what kind of training did you get along the way?
Basically, no training. All you know, just got interested about 40 years ago, I suppose. Started buying books and reading them,
Mm.
and working at home on some half-assed designs and so on and so forth. And then I went to the Century Mall about 1975-ish and ran into a company called KS Audio on my way to United Audio, and walked in with my 2 or 3 year old daughter, who's now 42 or 3, and asked what they did, and they said they built their own speakers. I sat and listened for about an hour, took my daughter home, brought some more albums back, and liked their product, and asked them if they needed a person to work for them. They said, yeah, they needed somebody at the factory. I gave my art studio 2 weeks' notice and
Mhm.
took a pay cut and went to work.
But art studio, what were you doing at the art studio?
Commercial art. I
Mm.
got involved in art in Vietnam, and then I went after Vietnam. I went to art school for a year, and then worked in that field for a few years.
Mm. And KS Audio, did they retail or was it
They
manufactured?
did both. They retailed and manufactured,
Mm.
and we're a division of that basically. We burned down. I can't remember the year exactly, but we burned down. We had a factory fire that put us out of business. We reopened Chicago Speaker Works, and we went on from there.
Mm.
And then I bought it out about the company out about 20 some years ago,
Mm.
and took over ownership.
Nice. I've self-taught myself a few different things myself, so I can respect that. The speaker lineup that you've got currently available, you've got the silhouettes, so the tall. That's a cherry finish on those,
Yeah, it's a cherry finish, floor standard.
and the quartets are I'd say bookshelf size. Just
Right, or put on. They need to be on a 20 to 24 inch stand. That's common placement for them.
and the help me out the duets.
Duet is a single woofer version of a quartet.
Okay, and I have to look at my notes here because I don't know. An ambient expansion soundstage.
Right.
Can you describe what that is?
We developed that. Basically, Charlie McShane he's an old. He used to be the head engineer for acoustic research back in their heyday
Mm.
years, from like 65 to 72 or so. He introduced that to me about 20 years ago, roughly, and it basically opens up the sound field. It restores lost stereo information from about 800 hertz all the way down to, in the Solwitz case, about 30 hertz.
Mm.
And what it does for the listener is puts them in the sound, puts them in the room with the musicians, gets them involved in the music more than a conventional speaker, I feel.
Okay.
I sell basically. I just brought in the new PS Audio amplifier, which is digital,
Right.
integrated amplifier that's got Bluetooth, phonostage, um, headphone amp. It's got quite a few things for
That's the small
small
amplifier that you showed me.
5 pound unit. That
Yeah.
kind of does everything.
Now, last time I was here, you said something about a hybrid amp, though, which I assume means solid state and tubes. You still offer that? I'm trying to get more in depth on which parts. Tube
Yeah,
and which
no, I
parts.
don't. I mean, we're working on the hybrid amps right now. Some of those
Okay.
counterpoint stuff, and I can't remember their name, but no, right now I have Mod Right, which is solid state or tubes. I've got their integrated amp, which is solid preamp and amplifier, and then I've got their preamp, separate preamp that is vacuum tube.
Okay.
And then another preamp that we're working to put our name on. That's I think will be a big seller at its price point for how it sounds.
Yeah. Oh, I got a good question for you. What's the most interesting piece of vintage gear in your shop right now?
That's an interesting piece of vintage gear. Yeah, that's a good question. I've got quite a few. Well, I've got it's at my storage house right now, but it's the largest production woofer made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's 34 inches, I believe.
Wow.
It's made by Electro Voice, and I just repaired it, and I'm going to be putting it on the internet soon.
Is it a cone or a planer?
It's a cone woofer. It's actually
Wow.
a foam cone woofer. They made it as light as they possibly could. But,
Sounds like the one from Back to the Future where he blows himself through the wall.
yeah,
34-inch woofer, that's amazing.
yeah. And there was actually 2 of them in the speakers, and so that's 4 of those in your living room.
Yeah, if you have a big living room.
Right.
I like the JBL Centuries, obviously, and the Marantz receiver.
Yeah, the Marantzes are always a favorite. They're great sounding for their 70s vintage.
Yeah. And what about those the electrostatic 7-foot tall speakers that we talked about earlier? What's the
Those are the
story?
Beverage Electrostatics from the produced in 1985 approximately, and they're a very good sounding product.
Yeah.
And were very expensive in 1985 at $6,500 approximately.
Wow.
So,
Are there grills for those, or do they?
yeah, there's it's a open cell foam that goes all the way down the front. So once that's put on, they look quite a bit better.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna just off the wall. You ever heard of the term kabuki speakers?
Yes, I think I have.
It's kind of an internet term for early boutique Japanese speakers that have too many drivers and too small a cabinet. I have a pair of Coral BX 1201s that have 2 tweeters, 2 mid-range, and a 12-inch woofer, and they sound mediocre, to be kind about it. But the joke is that you can play Led Zeppelin on them, and it sounds like Japanese kabuki music because they're so badly tuned.
I bet.
So
I bet.
I'd like to bring the crossover network in and let you have a shot at it, but it's probably a nightmare.
Best thing to do is blow it up and start over again.
Yeah. I have to show you this. This is my favorite part. They labeled everything
Did they really?
right on the front of the cabinet,
Oh, great.
and they called the bass port. It's called your bass hole. So would you ever consider labeling the bass hole on your silhouettes?
I would, but I would probably shoot myself right afterwards.
Yeah. Now, major question. I did some internet searches on you, and I read somewhere that you don't use your last name because people mispronounce it all the time.
Yeah, it screws me up. People assume the Van is my middle name, and that my last name starts with L now, so I just brought it down to just Van L.
So how do you pronounce your name?
Van Leishout.
Oh, I meant your first name. John?
John Van Leishout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen it spelled, but I've never seen it. I've never heard it pronounced, so I didn't want to butcher your name.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank you for taking the time on a Sunday to do the interview and show us around the shop. It's been a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot. So I think we'll wrap it up and let you get back to your family.
All right.
Good seeing you, John.
You too. Thank you.
Ta-da.
She did it.
Get the
All right.